Hi and welcome back, my cuties. I'm so happy to see you, and I'm so excited to tell you that today's video is going to be about how to improve your Instagram pictures, especially taking pictures all by yourself, because as you scroll through my feed on Instagram, you'll see that 90% of those pictures are taken by myself, and even some of the complex ones. And when I posted that picture in specific, the people went crazy and they loved it so much, and everybody was asking me for tips on how I take my selfies, my advanced selfies. Today we're gonna break it down in several stages because I believe it can also help you for your photography, for your travels, especially if you travel solo in a van or not in a van, it doesn't matter. And I'm gonna show you my tips and tricks and what gear I use, how I edit my pictures. So we're gonna go through all of that because I'm gonna prepare a relatively more complex video where I'm going to show you how I take more advanced pictures, more interesting pictures with objects. But before we do that, we're gonna go to the mall and get some things for that picture that we need. So let's go. I like the color here too. I think it's just a little bit too long, right? Because I'm too small. This for the milkshake. Or this. No, this. So I bought some stuff that requires this, and yeah, I bought some strawberries to make a milkshake because I felt like the milkshake would be really amazing with the color of the van, and I want to have like a cute setup with a milkshake. Before I take a picture, I have pictures in my mind. This is a really bad sketch. You probably won't see nothing, but I have sometimes pictures in my head that I want to put out. I made little sketches of pictures that I believe could fit nicely because a lot of you ask me, how do you have so many clothes in the van? This is my closet. It doesn't fit much in. But what I do is I go shopping. I choose the clothes by my taste and by the colors they have to fit into my feet. You know, my van is pinkish, so everything that has a pastel color fits really nicely to it. And I found this skirt and this top, which I'm going to wear for the shoot. What I do is I leave the price tag on, hide it inside, and I'm just gonna be really honest with you because that's what I do. But I'm gonna keep the receipt so we can return it afterwards because I don't need it. You're probably wondering now, okay, wow, that's a lot of effort. And I'm saying, yes, it is. Not everybody has to do what I'm doing. But I'm saying for me, when you go through the feed and everything is sort of always the same, you get a bit bored, right? At least I feel like this. Like you go through people and if they always take a portrait picture, at some point it gets a little bit bored. So it's the same with clothing. It's the same with the setup. It's the same with everything. Every picture has to be sort of a little bit more original and a little bit more different. At least for me, that's how I work. You have to come up with crazier idea, and I think that's a really amazing part of it because you can really get creative in whatever you do. Get creative with the outfit, in the look, in the setup, in the light, everything. You have control about everything. And I know it's a bit difficult when you are still in the beginning and you want to get into it. I say you can leave this stuff out if you are just starting to take pictures. This is where I start. I get creative step by step. I think, okay, what can fit in there? What can do there? I'm shooting on a Sony Alpha 7 III, and it's quite an expensive camera because I started photography about 4 years ago, I would say, when I really started learning it. So I got a really cheap secondhand camera to start from eBay, and just to get to know the manual. I don't shoot automatic, I shoot everything in manual. But I'm saying it's not necessarily for you to have a crazy expensive camera. Here you have a really good overview over my feed over the last 3 years. On the left side, you see the feed is a little bit more darker, but still really nice, I would say. It doesn't look unprofessional. And imagine this has been taken all with the iPhone 5 or 6 back in the days. And I didn't even run the pictures through an editing program. I only used an app. Now in the middle, we have another feed that has been all taken pretty much with my APS-C Sony camera, which is a semi-professional camera. And as you see, also my colors look in the feed pretty much the same. Repeatedly, we have the orange and the blue, and also my hair color is really obvious. And this is one thing that makes a feed a good feed. When you repeatedly have something similar in the topic and something similar in the color. Because this is the first thing people will notice when they scroll down your profile. They will see just the pictures in small little squares. They will not click on every single picture as an individual. Unless you're a super hot Instagram model, then it's something else. But I'm just saying this will clearly attract more people if you repeatedly have the same color. And also if you look at my portraits or the pictures where I am inside, you will always notice that my poses are different in every single picture. Because if you take 2 pictures at the same row, it just looks a little bit awkward. It just doesn't look even into the eye. And then you go to the right side, and this is my current feed. You see the colors got a little bit brighter, also a little bit more dreamier, a little bit more pinkish because of the van. All of those pictures have been taken with the Sony a7 III. And the difference between the very first feed and the last feed are the little details in the hair and the eyes. You can see it from the distance a little bit, that you have a little bit more detail inside the picture. But don't worry, Instagram will compress the pictures anyway. I'm just saying, you don't have to have an expensive camera. There's a lot of Instagram people who shoot with just phone, and it's enough. But if you want to get into more photography, I would recommend you to get a cheap secondhand camera. And one of the most important thing is a tripod. That's where you're standing right now. And without a tripod, I couldn't take those shots because I need something with the height. I actually have 2 tripods, one big one and one flexible one, like those gorilla pods you maybe know. I'm gonna tag every product that I own down below. And then I have another tool that is really handy. I have this remote control. You just kind of slide it into the camera, connect it, and then you just press the button and you can take pictures from afar. It's just a bit difficult sometimes because you have to hide this remote sometimes either in your sleeve, or you lay it on the table and just sort of put your hands on top and just click on it. You know, it's like you just have to play with it and get used to it. And it's funny, like when you look at this picture here, I'm basically having this remote control inside here, and I'm pressing it. Photography is something that you really have to love doing it, because you have to have enough patience to learn all of it, to learn to edit eventually, and to learn the composition, the light, the function of a camera. And the more you practice this, the better you get, and the more videos you watch, the better you get. And at this point, I'm so glad that I can say that I teamed up with Skillshare, because it's an online learning communities for creators, for anybody, and they have more than 25,000 videos and classes on how to create certain things if you're interested in photography or videography. This is just one example of a class that is on Skillshare. It's from John Ollison, who's also a YouTuber, really successful one, I think with 1.4 million subscribers, and he gives lessons about how he shoots his pictures. I think it's just a really great opportunity to learn from each other. Before we develop our own style, we see what other people do and what they have done to become successful. So check out a little bit of this video where he's using the Lightroom, the same program that I use as well, to edit my pictures.
Go a bit colder. Of course, now it's getting a bit too blue, so we can use that green channel to kind of help find the balance of the tone that we're looking for. Difference. See, it's nothing crazy, but it just looks nicer.
And the most amazing thing is the first 500 people on my channel who click down in the link below have an access free for 2 months, and afterwards you will only pay $10 a month. I'm now in the backyard of Joao's apartment. And I took some of his garden chair because I have this scene in mind, like the lady and the, you know, that Disney dog film. So I prepared a milkshake. I'm gonna set up the scene now, and I took what I had. It's not really the nicest area as you see, but it's not gonna be visible because we're gonna shoot from this angle. So I have this all stuff prepared already, and we have a table. I really wanted to have a bistro table, like a round one, but I couldn't find anything nearby. So I just took my camping table, but we're gonna use this blanket to make it a little bit nicer, to make it a little bit more appealing. My scene that I have in mind, the scene that I have in mind is me sitting here with Penyo, with a milkshake and a spaghetti. The scene is sort of set, almost. I'm now gonna get changed, and then we're gonna sit down. So as you see, shooting yourself, especially if you have a dog and you want him to be in the frame, it's not that easy. And then after that, I would start to put the camera into position and see what is the best angle and the best camera setting for the scene. And after I set up the camera setting, I would start to already sit down and pose. But this day it was really difficult because I was freezing in that dress and it was really cold. The wind was really strong and it was just overall a little bit hard to handle, especially since some of the neighbors were also bugging me to hurry up a little bit. So I was running against time, coldness, and neighbors. But it is important that you already have your poses down, that you already know how you want to look into the camera, and this comes down to practice in front of the camera, practice in front of the mirror, observe a lot of different people and their pictures and see how the poses are and what they do. From this shoot I made several pickups, and you see that 2 of those were not so well. The wind is blowing into my face. The other one, Penyo isn't looking. My pose is not really the nicest, and overall it doesn't look so well. Then the next 3, you can see that it looks way better. The pose is nice. My legs look long. Penyo is looking into the frame. Everything sort of has a story, it has a feeling, and I think that looks nice. So we're just gonna pick one of those pictures and start to edit it. First, lighten up the dark areas, and I will brighten up the picture a little bit because my feet is pretty bright, so I don't want too many harsh black colors in my feet. And then I'm gonna go to the curve, and normally I would shape pretty much like a S wave kind of form and get rid of the dark areas. So I will just play a little bit with it, but I still want some shadows, so I'm gonna put a point over there and just bend it a little bit. And I would just play around and see how the colors go, because every picture has their differences. But one thing that I always do is the blue. I'll change the blue, going the setting a little bit slightly to the left. And also with the green, I want almost no saturation in the green, so I'm gonna almost lower everything of it, so we have like a nice greenish but not really green tree. And then with the rest I play around. I see how my skin color looks like. After that, I would say the picture looks quite good already. Depending what I see, I would use the next page, it's the brush, and I would lighten up some areas that are too dark because I want to be in the foreground, so everything that is important, I'll light it up. After Lightroom, I would open Photoshop, because then I would try to get rid of all the blemishes with the repair tool. You can see there are little freckles or little bruises on the skin that just doesn't look too nice. So I would just take the repair tool and clean it up, as well as some other parts that are just distracting in the picture, like that little hanger of my dress. So I would just do it with the whole picture, really try to get every spot that I can, so that if I still see some little parts that I don't like in color, I would also use almost the same tools in Photoshop to lighten it up, or even changing the color a little bit. And then yeah, we're pretty much done. Here you can see a before and after. I think it's a really good picture already. I would still run the picture through an app because I know not everybody has the program. So here you have 3 apps that you can use to edit your pictures. So I'm gonna edit the same picture again so you can see how it would look like if I wouldn't use the program at all. So this is the original picture and I'm gonna crop it to the Instagram size, and then I'm gonna choose a filter that I've previously downloaded before. And then I'll try to recreate the same picture and brighten up the picture. I'm gonna decrease the shadow and put a little bit clarity to it. I will also do the same thing with the blue and the green tones that I always do in Lightroom, but instead in Lightroom I'm going to use the app. So here you see already the difference. It's already brighter. And after that I would open up Polar and you see you have the brush tool, which you don't have in VCSO, and it's really more a professional kind of app, I would say. You can brighten up areas the same way as I did before in Lightroom, because this allows you to have more control over the certain little areas. I also think that the apps, all of them are free, but you have to pay a little bit if you want to enable all the functions. It's probably a lot to take on if you are really new to this. It takes a lot of time and a lot of practice, and that's all I can say at the end. Practice a lot, try to learn to pose, and try to observe more what other people do, and watch a lot of videos, read a lot about it, talk a lot about it. I promise you, I started from zero. And here you have a comparison between all those 3 pictures. I think they all look pretty good, and I'm pretty sure that you can also edit your pictures just with the app and get a pretty good result. So I hope this really helped you out, guys, and I hope you can improve your Instagram pictures or just your photography and your editing skills and the way you maybe look at social media, because you know, not everything on social media needs to represent the reality. It's more like a portfolio of pictures for a photographer. It's normal that we don't always represent what is real on Instagram, but that's why I make those videos and stories for you, so you know what happens behind the scene. So I hope this helped you guys, and yeah, let me know if you need anything else from me, if you want to know anything else, and yeah, send you kisses and goodbye.